So yes, thank you everyone for joining me today. My name is Michael Smith. I'm the National Consumer Education Manager of Janome Canada, and thank you so much for joining me for another Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour. So yes, what will be the machine that we're going to be talking about today? Well, all secrets will be revealed in just a moment. Oh, hello everyone. Hello from Germany. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful. Again, this is the wonderful thing about technology is no matter where we are in the world, so long as we have an internet connection, we can always share the love. So that's great, even in the middle of this global pandemic. So that's wonderful. So thank you so much for joining us here today. So yes. So what will be the machine featured today? Ooh, let me try to find my icon again to spin this around. Ooh, so yes, Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour, Tanya's beautiful artwork. Now, as I pull this away, I'm going to keep you in suspense a little bit longer because, ta-da! This isn't quite our machine, but this is a good clue. Oh, Cindy's here. Hello, Cindy. So this is a good clue to what we're going to be talking about today. 4 years ago at Quilt Canada in Mississauga, just not too far here from the Janome Sewing and Learning Center, it was 4 years ago at Quilt Canada that Janome debuted this beautiful Janome branded long arm. It is the Quilt Maker Pro 18. And when we debuted this, so many people came into our Janome booth because, Janome is always front and center. And they all came through and said, wow, Janome finally has a Janome branded long arm. So now we can have a Janome domestic sewing machine, a Janome embroidery machine, an embroidery Janome serger, a Janome cover hem machine, and now we can have a Janome branded long arm. So the Quilt Maker Pro 18 was the first in the long arm quilting line. And again, maybe you would love a long arm because you just want more space, more throat space in particular, to quilt all of your projects. But maybe you don't have the space or the budget for a big long arm. So, Janome is always about alternatives. Janome is always about giving you choice. So how about you have this same beautiful machine head, the 18 inches of throat space by 9 inches tall. How about you have that, but in a different configuration? And before I move my camera, I would just like to say, yes, I am so proud I have a hand in making that quilt. It was so wonderful. So it will now live in infamy. So now the machine that you could have to finish all your quilting projects at home is the big build-up, ta-da, is the Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa. And I need to move my camera back because, yes, look at this beautiful setup. So as you could imagine, Versa means versatility. So how about this? It's that same beautiful Quilt Maker Pro 18-inch head, so you have that 18-inch throat space by 9 inches tall, but now instead of on that big long arm quilting frame, you have it on this very cool table. So Versa, again, is all about versatility. So instead of moving the machine head, you're going to now move your quilt under your fabric under the needle, just like you do on your domestic sewing machine. But again, now you've got way more room for that. Now, if you were with me last week live, I did debut this. Again, it was Quilt Canada here in Canada. So I was debuting the Versa on our Janome HQ Instagram Live, but we had some technical difficulties last week, so I wasn't able to save this presentation to the iPad. So that's why I'm doing it again. So then hopefully it will save this time, and then again I'll load it as a video on the Janome HQ YouTube channel. So now everybody can see that yes, Janome has always added more products to their line, again, to help you get your projects done quicker and easier. So now on the Versa table, it was fully height adjustable. It'll go down to about 25.5 and all the way up to 39.5. So you can stand up if you prefer to stand up like you do at a long arm quilting machine. You can stand up to quilt, or you lower this table down so you can sit. just like you do in your domestic machine. But again, now you've got that beautiful 18-inch by 9-inch throat space, so that's great. Now with your Versatable here, we have optional casters that will go on the bottom. So if you need to move the machine around, move the table around, that's very easy to do with the little casters as an optional accessory available from your Janome dealer. The machine and the table, it only comes in 2 boxes, so super simple to assemble. You know, the long arm quilting frames generally come in about, 4 or 5 boxes. So the Quilt Maker Pro Versa, it only comes in 2. There's a head box and a table box. Super simple to do. So again, fully adjustable table. It's about 31.5 by 36 inches. So you have a generous space to do all of your quilting. So let's see here, a beautiful close-up, and don't you love that accent of red on that LCD screen, which I will show in just a moment. So here, our beautiful Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa. So again, we've got that beautiful 18-inch throat space by 9 inches, but it also comes with this fabulous bobbin winder that all of our Janome long arms come with as well. And I love this because we can use any size of thread. Here is our Madeira Arrow quilt, which I love so much. And again, available from your Janome dealer. So why I love this bobbin winder is it has a stop and start button, and as well, it has a speed control. So this is really cool that when you are winding your own bobbins, and it's the big metal M-class bobbin, so you can get lots of thread on this. Now, yes, you can use M-class pre-wounds, but again, it's just as quick and easy to wind your own, especially with this great bobbin winder. So once you thread your bobbin winder, and full instructions come included, of course, once you thread your bobbin winder, again, I like turning the speed down low and then starting. So then I can double check my threading, that if anything jumps out of this tension disc, if I don't have it loaded properly and if it might jump out, that's why I like to turn it down really low, just to double check that everything is winding correctly. So in case it were to jump out, I can just stop it right away. I'm not going to continue to wind it and waste all that thread. So I can make sure that, yes, it's going to wind correctly. Then I can turn it on again and then, really crank up the speed so I can wind those bobbins very quickly and easily. Again, yes, we can use pre-wounds, but I find it's just as fast and easy to do it myself. And particularly, again, if you're using some odd colors, then that way you don't have to, buy a whole pack of pre-wounds just for like 1 bobbin. So that comes included with your machine. Now, speaking of thread, then yes, you get this whole little sample smorgasbord of thread here. So again, any kind of thread you would like to use on your Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa, you're able to use, again, a whole little smorgasbord here. Now, all of these are the nice big cones, so of course you could use that because we've got, as I pan over here to the machine, look at that beautiful Madeira Arrow quilt. We've got the telescoping thread stand here. So again, any size of cone of thread we'd like to use, but as an optional accessory available from your Janome dealer, here is a horizontal spool pin, which looks like that. So, even we can use our Janome polyester embroidery thread, for example. Or here's the Madeira Polyneon multicolor. Look at all that. Isn't that gorgeous? So again, you would probably not be able to find a multicolor pre-wound bobbin. So this is when, yes, you would wind your own to use this Madeira multicolor Polyneon. So this is thread I typically embroider with, but we can absolutely use it on our Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa. How about this Madeira metallic thread, which I love so much? So we just put it on like that, and there's this little screw hole up here at the top of the machine that we would just screw in that horizontal spool pin. So we're able to use smaller spools of thread as well. And then that way, again, let's say if we've got hot pink, for example, then you don't have to buy a whole big cone of hot pink thread. You could use your hot pink embroidery thread instead. So how cool is that? And then you would just thread your machine in the typical way. Now, the good thing is that, again, this horizontal spool pin is an optional accessory from your Janome Dealer. So the good thing is, of course, full instructions in the manual. So of course you'd make sure to read all of that. Again, it only comes in 2 boxes. So here there's instructions for the table, putting it together. And I'm in the process of writing a blog for the Janome Life blog. So you will see more about how easy, fast and easy it is to put together. But also, yes, we have full instructions about this fabulous insert, which I'll go over in just a moment. So there's no guesswork in anything. Again, Janome really tries to be very thorough and provide all the information. Now you can also go on the, oh, hello everyone. Oh, wonderful. It's so great to see everybody. So yes, you can also go on like the Janome.ca website, for example, and in the search box, you can type in Quilt Maker Pro Versa, or just even Janome longarms, and see what comes up. And then here is the brochure that, you know, you could print out that has all the specs. For example, that it's 18 inches throat space, 9 inches tall. Look at all this beautiful LED lighting up here in the throat of the machine. This is new and upgrade. The Quilt Maker Pro 18 does not have this LED strip here, but the Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa does. So again, all that beautiful LED lighting, and again, all that beautiful LED lighting here around the needle. So that's great. So all of those specs are included here, again, that you can find on the Janome .ca website. And you know, we do have the comparison chart. So if you wonder how does this machine differ than the Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 big long arm, then again you can compare those 2 machines there on the website. So some more little goodies that the machine comes with. Of course, you've got your little maintenance tools like your little brush to clean out your bobbin area, a little vial of oil, because yes, you'll be oiling the hook area more frequently with your high-powered sewing. This is 2,200 stitches per minute. So very, very fast. But, you know, when you're done that little vial of oil, did you know your Janome dealer has this Janome branded good quality sewing machine oil? So very often I get questions about oil. Consult your manual on where to oil and how to oil. As well, always talk to your dealer or Janome service technician about any questions of maintenance. But this good quality sewing machine oil, you do not want to use vegetable oil, no cooking oil, no 3-in-1 oil. Again, just get Janome branded sewing machine oil so you know it works. So that's great. There's a little DVD and booklet here about thread. So that's great resource. Now, you know, our fabulous long arm quilting expert, Kelly McKenzie from Janome America, has also done a lot of YouTube videos on the Janome America YouTube channel, all about the various Janome long arm quilting machines. So you can go there to find as well more information about thread and adjusting your tensions and little tips and tricks, adjusting your bobbin tension, for example. So that's on the Janome America YouTube channel. Speaking of bobbins, again, more big M-class bobbins available from your dealer. I always think you can never have too many bobbins. So that's great. Very important, the little screwdriver to adjust your bobbin case. Now here is your big separate bobbin case, again for those big M-class bobbins. That's the little screw right there that you're going to adjust. So the big thing about long arm quilting is with a long arm quilting machine, you have to adjust your tensions. You know, in our domestic sewing machines, many times we get very spoiled in that if we have like auto tension, or again, we don't end up fiddling with the tension very much. But in long arm quilting machines, we must learn to adjust the tensions. So again, there's lots of information in the manual, and as well lots of videos on YouTube. And then as I'm writing my blog post, I hope to share little tips and tricks along the way too. But once you set your bobbin tension, then you're good to go. And then when you learn to thread the needle thread, Ooh, very easily here. Full instructions on how to thread it. Then any adjustments, once you set your bobbin tension, any other adjustments will be made in the needle, so it's easier to adjust. Now, I love, you can get a separate bobbin case like this. So what I love is having a separate bobbin case. I adjust the tension for cotton thread, let's say, and then I have a separate bobbin case for polyester thread. And then maybe I have a separate bobbin case, for the pre-wound bobbin. So you can always pick up an extra bobbin case for each different type of thread, and that way you adjust that little screw once and then you don't have to keep adjusting it. So that's very cool. So again, these little bobbin cases available from your Janome dealer, but of course, yes, it does come with one to get you started. So basically, the machine comes with everything you need to get started. You just had to provide some batting and fabric, and chances are you have some of that. Now, these needles, very important, 2 packs of needles. These are the round industrial needles for high-speed sewing. These are not your flat-back domestic sewing machine needles. So these are very specific. You want to make sure to get the authentic ones. So I always recommend just purchase these from your Janome dealer so you know you're getting the correct ones. There's a lot of imitations out there. And trust me, you'll know. They may look the same, but as soon as you put them in your machine, you'll know when you got a fake one, that's for sure. So you need these they're very strong for high-speed sewing, so you need these industrial needles. Again, it comes with 2 packs, but there's more from your Janome dealer. Oh, lovely. Oh, thank you, Michael. I love your passion. Oh, thank you. I always feel so inspired after watching you. Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you. That's so sweet. Oh, and Cheryl's here. Hello. Thank you. That is such a sweet compliment. That's certainly my intention with doing all of this, is that I'm so excited and inspired to use all these machines and try different techniques. So I try to show you a little bit of everything. The time is always my enemy. But yes, I'm hoping then you'll go off and again inquire more with your Janome dealers, or if you already have one of these machines at home, that you go in and try. It's so much fun. And again, especially with all this beautiful throat space, you can get your projects done quicker and easier than ever. Now also little tools that will come with your machine, like this little Allen wrench that we're going to use to change out our needle here and also change out our hopping feet, because yes, just like our domestic sewing machines, we have a variety of hopping feet available, additional accessories, but available from your Janome dealer. There's a whole variety of extra hopping feet, so you can really get the most from your fabulous Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa. Now, as you'll see here, Craig's here. Oh, hello. Oh, it's wonderful to see you too, Craig. Hugs to you. Thank you. Down here on my floor, there is my foot pedal, because this machine is not moving on a frame. It's staying stationary in the table. So we're going to be using this foot pedal. Or maybe we're not. We always have options. So just like with our domestic sewing machines, many of them have the stop-start button, so we don't always have to use a foot pedal. So the same is true of the Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa. We can use the foot pedal, or we don't always have to, which I'll show you. Now there is our big extra large foot pedal pad that is on the floor there, that I love using to hold whatever kind of foot pedal you have. So here, there is the packaging. It's the So Comfortable Non-Slip Foot Pedal Pad. It is 10 by 14 inches, so quite big. So regardless of what foot pedal you have, it will accommodate, and that just kind of locks your foot pedal in place. It locks it onto the floor, and it locks your foot pedal in place, so it's not going to be crawling all around the floor. So that's always good to have. So yes, let's get into the beautiful machine. Now, again, I mentioned that you can stand or sit down. So how about this fabulous Aero chair? This is one of the hydraulic Aero chairs available from your Janome dealer, in that beautiful accent of red to go with our beautiful red LCD screen. So you can get so many Aero chairs, so you can quilt in comfort and in style. So let's put this down here and do some quilting. Now, I mentioned again, yes, that beautiful telescoping thread stand. So that's great. I also love to, again, I'm using the extra bobbins, I always like to wind a couple of bobbins, so that way I don't have to stop and wind them later. So I just hang them up here. So how convenient is that? Or how about, you know, the machine comes with 2 feet. There's a closed toe foot that's on right now, and here is an open toe one. So that comes included with the machine. So again, you have better needle visibility since there isn't a bar there. So that I like to, again, I don't want to lose track of it. So I just hang it up there. So how convenient is that? So that's cool. Now let's look at this beautiful LCD screen and do some quilting because it is so much fun. So here on our screen, and what makes the Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa so special, you know, many people love to do free motion quilting on their domestic sewing machine, but they always say, oh, I wish I had a built-in stitch regulator. For free motion quilting on our domestic machines, no, we don't have that capability. But look, here in this beautiful insert that comes with your Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa, this is another versatile tool that makes this machine so special. These little windows here are the windows to your soul. It is fantastic. So that's my built-in stitch regulator. So I do have 2 modes of stitching here. We've got stitch regulated or manual. So currently here on my LCD screen, I am in regulated, so it's highlighted there. And then we can set our stitches per inch, so we can go really, really tight and small, or we can do, you know, nice and big, long, or I'll do about kind of average is about 10 or 11. So again, with these little windows here in the insert, and again, full instructions included with your machine, I like to do just 1 stitch to bring up the bobbin thread. So then that way I don't have any like bird's nests or anything on the back of the quilt there, and away we go. And I'll just trim those. So again, how cool is that? You'll hear the motor rev up and slow down as I'm doing my quilting. It's trying to match the movements of my hands. And the fun thing about this, again, you'll just make all these little quilt sandwiches and you'll just scribble and just kind of play around. I always like to do these little hearts. As I'm testing my tension, I do these little almost like ribbon candy or hearts, or I also do these little 5-pointed stars or multi-pointed stars, because then I like to see what the tension looks like, you know, right in the corners there. So as I remove my project, and again, maybe you'll see this beautiful stitching. And again, I like to do these little sharp points to double check my tension. And then of course we can flip it around and double check the tension there to make sure it's good. And again, first we're gonna check the bobbin tension, and then we're gonna adjust our needle tension. So by having this built-in stitch regulator into the insert, that means I don't have any other extra accessory clipped onto the fabric. I can quilt right out to the edge of this fabric. Now this stitch regulator is not covered, but the other one is. So long as one is covered, it's still fine. So if I want to get, if this is my big quilt here and I want to maybe base down this edge, for example, again, I'm getting right to the edge, so I don't have to worry about having this extra stitch regulator that I now have to stop and move. I can get, again, right out to the quilt and no problem at all. So that's in our stitch regulated mode. But then we also have, a manual mode. So then the motor is going to stay a consistent speed, and now it's up to us. Again, we're now the stitch regulator. So however fast and however slow you move your fabric to get in that, what we call the sweet spot. So you can adjust the motor speed as well, that if you're doing an all-over stippling and you want to go really, really, really fast, again, we ultimately have 2,200 stitches per minute, so you can really go to town. So the secret to free motion quilting, just like it is on your domestic machine, you have to, I find, up the motor speed of your machine, but slow your hands down. You don't want to be pulling and pushing your fabric If you find you are and you're bending your needles, you're breaking your needles, chances are you need to rev your machine up faster, but you need to slow your hands down. Now in manual mode, again, we can set the motor to whatever we wish, but we do have some presets here. So if I'm going to be doing some ruler quilting, for example, because yes, we do have an optional ruler foot available for this machine. So if I'm going to use the optional ruler foot, which looks like this from our Janome Dealer. And again, it's got that nice high profile. So, and oh, there we go. A nice high profile, little divots so I can see where the needle is. So if we are going to use this ruler foot with one of our so comfortable long arm quilting rulers. These are again about 1/4 of an inch thick, so they're great to use on your Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa and all of our Janome long arm quilting machines. So if you're going to use this ruler foot, for example, with that ruler safely up against it, maybe you want to quilt at a slower speed, so you can use one of these presets. So I have one down at 750. So instead of always adjusting my machine, I can just set it to that preset, and then that way now it's slower. But then if I'm going to be doing an all over stippling or meander, then I can again set my preset for higher. So I don't always have to adjust the machine every time. So again, how great is that? We can set it if our needle is going to stop in the up position or the down position, just like we have on our domestic sewing machine. We even have a baste function built in. So if you want to, again, baste your quilts down, even if you are a hand quilter or a friend of yours is a hand quilter, so then you can baste their quilt down, and you can even adjust the basting itself and how quick and how quickly you move the fabric, and then that determines the length of your basting stitch. So even if you're a hand quilter, or again, a friend who's a hand quilter, you can baste the quilt for them, and they could still do their hand quilting and then easily remove that basting. And this way, then you can baste all your layers together. If you've got a king size, queen size quilt, it doesn't matter. You can quilt it all on the Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa, and you baste all your layers together like this very easily if you had a really big quilt. And then this way you don't have to use safety pins or anything to, get in the way and potentially run over. And then you got to stop and remove them. So this way is so simple, so easy to do. So those are our two major modes of stitching. And again, more information about all of this in the manual. Time goes by way too fast. But also I wanted to draw your attention to this cool little tension number here. Now this number is not really set in stone. It's not like a finite number, but it definitely helps you adjust your needle tension. I've got the old-fashioned beehive tension here, but every time I turn that knob, that number is changing. So I can turn it down so it's lower tension, or turn it up for higher tension. So as I'm doing my little testing, for example, again, you make yourself a bunch of these little sandwiches and you just do your little curly cues, do your stars, and you're testing your tension to make sure that you don't see any of the bobbin tension. If you see some of the bobbin tension, then your needle tension is too high. So then you need to turn this down, down to a lower number. And then you do a little more testing. And then if you say, oh no, well now I see that I look on the bottom side, now I see my thread, my needle thread now is on my bobbin side. So then I need to tighten up my needle tension again. So by having that digital tension display, it really helps you. You're not just turning that number blindly. You really help winnow down exactly where the tension is best based on the thread. Again, this is why you need to learn and get comfortable with adjusting your tensions, because your different thread, you're going to require a different tension. Now it's great as an optional accessory, this Quilt Maker Pro thread tension journal, that it's wonderful. It gives you this little cheat sheet, some suggestions on how you're going to thread your machine and what needle based on some different types of threads here. But then you can write that, oh yes, on this quilt with my, 80-20 batting with my cotton fabric, or maybe I'm using a batik, but then with my Madeira Arrow quilt thread, then I've got my tension at 110. So you record all that information here. So then, 2 days from now, 2 years from now, you can go back and say, oh, I now want to use that Madeira Arrow quilt thread again. What was it that I had my tension at? So it's great having this. You don't have to write them down on little random pieces of paper. You don't have to try to remember it. Oh goodness, there's too much going on in my mind. I don't know about you. So I love being able to write it down and keep it in this cute little thread tension journal. There's even some Velcro here, so you could stick it to the frame of your machine so you always know where it is. So isn't that cool? So that is our thread tension digital display there. Again, just like on our fabulous Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 long arm, but now you get that on your Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa. So that's a great handy tip there. Now this little play button, again, as I mentioned, we can use our foot control, as I have been now, or we just click that button, and now every time we move, because I'm in regulated mode now, so every time I move, again, the machine is going to go all by itself. So we don't need to use the foot control. So isn't that cool? So in our regulated mode, I'm in precision, which means when I stop moving the fabric, then the machine is going to stop. So I like using this mode when I'm going to be doing, again, ruler quilting with my ruler foot, like there, because again, as I'm going to move and adjust my ruler, then I want the machine again to stop and slow down so I can safely move that ruler. But also we have the cruise mode. So that is my fabric isn't moving, but the needle is cycling. So that I would say is like idling the car. The engine is running, but you're not going anywhere. So I like this cruise mode when I'm doing, again, an all over, stippling, meandering, or, when I'm doing those sharp points. I like the cruise mode because it drops that little extra stitch right in the corner before I go off in another direction. So that way then I'm not going to be skipping a stitch. Nothing is going to pull. There's that little extra stitch right in the corner. So it's going to stay, ooh, there we go, right in the corner. Talk about a close-up. Wow, right in the corner there. So again, I haven't pulled the stitch. Nothing is skipping. It's wonderful. And then there on the back side. So again, how fun to, again, you just play and experiment. So that's called play and pause. So that's much like the stop-start is on our domestic machine. Now, how about, again, there's so many more things. So I just recorded some videos last week for Quilt Canada. So they are on the Janome HQ YouTube channel. We have a new playlist called Quilt Canada. So I did the Quilt Maker Pro 20, Quilt Maker Pro 16, and Quilt Maker Pro Versa. So you can check those out there, the videos on the Janome HQ YouTube channel for more information. But, how about, there's so much you can do with your long arm. So how about, here's my little quilt sandwich of my backing, my batting. I just have like a center square. So, people have asked me for a number of years now, oh, could I do piecing on my long arm quilting machine? So I say, well, sure, why not? So what I'm doing here is basically sorry for the camera, is basically a quilt as you go technique. So how about this? This is so much fun. As you're learning your machine, what a fun thing to play around with. Or again, you just want to stitch, but you don't really want to think too much. So how cool is this, where I can do this again on my domestic machine, or I can do this on my long arm. So I could do this on the stand-up long arm machines, or again, here I'm doing it on Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa sit down, which again could also be as a stand-up machine. So there's so much you can do with your Janome long arm, be it the Quilt Maker Pro 18, now we have Quilt Maker Pro 16, we also have also brand new Quilt Maker Pro 20, and yes, Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa. So how cool is that? So there's no end to the fun, no end to the creative possibilities. There's so much you can do. So definitely double check on our janome.ca website for more information. And as always, double check with your fabulous Janome dealer. So yes, that, in a nutshell, is our fabulous Janome Quilt Maker Pro 18 Versa. So thank you everyone for joining me today. It's always a whirlwind, but I hope it's been fun and informative for you too. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you all next week for another Janome's Magical Machine Mystery Tour. And again, what will we be talking about? Oh, I don't know. It's a mystery. You must tune in. So thanks so much for joining me, and have a fabulous day. Bye.